like to add, besides learning our history and culture and language, it doesn't end there, because part of our curriculum objectives is to leadership strategies for our students, how we can advance the Filipino American community through strategies. We actually make strategies, and things we do, actual things we can do to help our community, not just talk about it anymore, but actually have plans, action plans, and stuff like that. We might get some of these the professionals here who are part of leadership on how they became, leaders in our community by just knowing their history, but actual strategies, what we can do and what we can get involved in. The oral history stuff, that's very important. That's what my brother did an oral history back in 1970 with my mom. So what it is, she took 5 pictures from the album. Mom, explain these pictures. She videotaped them, and he made a video just from those pictures. It's very important. So it's helping our community.
So videotape.
We want you to help us, now that you know about the school, to help us recruit the students. Because, they have to know about the school. And nakakatuwa si TV one of the professors in UCSD who will teach with you. And he said, oh yes, Ate Stella, I'm trying to tell my students they should go to the Filipino school in addition to the Philippine heritage courses that he is teaching. And he said, sir naman, ang mahal, $50.
Yeah.
I thought it was $35.
No, that's for elementary.
Oh, for
That's
the
for
elementary.
She wants to go back.
And
That's right.
I said, and we said naman, ano naman gusto ng Pilipino, libre na naman. So what happens to the
Sir, I
school?
have a question with the school. Is Tony looking for investors or just needing help to?
No, it's just we want the school to be there, and we want the students naman to have a certain obligation. Wala naman nung investment o ano.
Well, I think Tony will obviously be open to anyone who want to invest in the school
There's no
itself.
such thing as.
So right now you need help
putting
as
money.
far as advertising and getting
Right.
Yeah,
students.
get people to
there.
enroll.
Yes.
That's the main goal, is to
And,
get people to
it's-
enroll, because
it's-
this first class is going to represent whether it's going to be viable or unviable to a certain extent. So
And-
this first class, we all collectively have to recruit people to attend. And so I was thinking to myself, knowing how cheap we are as people, who would attend?
Yeah.
And I was thinking, who has money? And my assumption would be, who has money are retired Navy guys like you guys. and I know your kids are cheap, so I thought, if you had a grandchild who was like
Yeah.
8th grade, 9th grade, and you wanted to give them a birthday gift, or a Christmas gift, you would get them to enroll in school. Because to me, retirees have discretionary money because they've already invested in that bit, and if we make $89,000 a year of average, people got money. So my thing is, you hit grandparents so they get the grandchildren to go to the school.
The elementary.
No, it doesn't matter what age they are.
Yeah.
Because he could have a kid who's, 15, 16,
I have a grandson in
35.
Temecula, so.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, I mean,
I want
the
to send him
elementary
there.
tumawag.
Is it affordable for me to send him?
With your jacket? Yeah.
I just came to the master. So.
That's what I was thinking.
That's the Masters Championship. Yeah.
Like, for example, the one who called Carol, sabi, elementary, $35, ang mahal naman. Sabi namin, kung mag-babysitter, mas mahal.
So how long is the course for like I have a 13-year-old grandson.
8 sessions.
8 sessions. And he can take it at his own
4
pace?
hours.
It's 4 hours.
4 hours.
Oh, 4
For
hours.
8 Saturdays.
Per session.
Oh,
For
okay.
8 Saturdays.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oscar, you
So
want
how
to
many
say something?
grandchildren can you bring?
I have, well, no, my 7 grandchildren are all over California.
Oh, okay.
The closest one is
Temecula?
Temecula, but he
Okay.
spends every other weekend with me.
Oh, good. All right, there you go.
You will
It's for
see your
8
grandchildren.
kids.
It
Oscar,
will be
you want to
fun.
say something? Yes.
So that it's important to note that this recruiting is really very important because
Oh, yeah.
when I was president of Kupao, we started teaching Filipino.
Good morning. Good morning.
But the problem was maybe we didn't have a real good organization in order to, to promote it. So
Right.
it died down. And this is why, it's important that, recruiting
Oh, yeah.
is because there's no use of having a school and without students.
Can I say something? Today, the marketing people from Tony's office is out for sending out the flyers.
It's a media blitz, media blitz.
Yeah,
It was on
in Seafood
Facebook.
City, in Seafood City and all that.
And one thing, maybe it's just me, but I know you start with 7 to 10 years old.
Uh-huh.
But for me, we should start from, preschool.
Early childhood.
Because
We are planning.
those kids are the ones that are really very,
Yeah.
They should take it right.
yeah. And this is a thing that probably, I don't know if you agree with me, but the reason why we are so, they said we are regionalistic. That is why I think that when we teach these kids, the preschool ones, we also teach cooperation rather than competition, because competition is counterproductive. Where, there's nothing wrong if all of us are number one, because Filipinos are, when we approach things, we always assign numbers, meaning I'm number one, I'm summa cum laude, I'm, I'm this and that, valedictorian. What if you're not a valedictorian?
Yeah.
See, the reason why it's a counterproductive for me is because, if we're classmates and my intention is to become a summa cum laude, if I know something, I will not teach you, what I learned. But if you inculcate into the children's mind that cooperation rather than competition is really productive, then there's nothing wrong when all of us are number one rather than only one is number one, right?
Yes, that's so true, I
I
agree.
agree.
But
I
yeah,
agree with you.
Yeah, Maggie, you wanna say something?
yeah, say something.
Hold on.
You have to put on the record that she's the new chairman of COPAO, Council of Filipino American Organization.
I guess I'm excited to hear about the plans for the Filipino school and sort of the deliberateness in terms of how this was approached. One of the things that I think is so important that you have incorporated into the curriculum is, I've always been, in terms of my own educational experience, I've always known that affective development, the soul, the heart, has to be acknowledged and affirmed first before you go into the cognitive aspect of teaching. And it's very obvious in terms of the language that you're using and the curriculum that you're developing,
Thank you.
that the affirmation of who I am, the acknowledgement of who I am, has to be first and foremost in terms of me prospering and flourishing in an educational environment.
Thank you.
And so that is very powerful. The fact that it has an opportunity to recognize Filipino-ness and what that means, and to take pride at a young age. And as Felix was saying, for me, I didn't learn about Filipino until we demanded a Filipino-American class at California State, Sacramento. And I ended up co-teaching along with Vince Reyes, the class, because there was no one else to teach the class. So it was a journey in terms of learning my own history, my own culture, and finding context for how I was and why I was and the values that I was brought up on. It gave me a whole dimension of understanding that I didn't have. And what you talk about is trying to create this wholeness. And with this wholeness and acknowledgement and affirmation comes empowerment. And you find your voice. And I think the conversation today has been very interesting because it's sort of, I'm trying, again, trying to understand who we are as a community. And we talk about sort of the invisibility of the Filipino community. Why now, only now in the 21st century, that we now have a Filipino school in San Diego when we've had a presence in San Diego for over 100 years. Why is it that other organizations, other cultures and communities seem to have more power? But then when you hear, I go to different organizational meetings and I hear the leadership and I hear the expertise, I think we underestimate ourselves. We don't give ourselves credit for who we are as individuals, and that might be part of the culture. It also might be part of who we are as a community. It's sort of, yes, we're proud, but not that proud.
Yeah.
Yes, we are accomplished and we can assume leadership positions, but, I want to be below the radar. So it's sort of almost a schizophrenic kind of existence in terms of how, again, it's my personal belief,
Yeah.
just in terms of observation. And Ray met with me last year when I returned to San Diego and talked about COPAL. And again, it was, his vision about what COPAL could be, what COPAL has been, and what we can do to contribute to the Filipino community. All of us are here on a Saturday morning because we believe in the Filipino community. There's a passion and a love for the Filipino community. And for me, it's sort of, how do we build on the strengths that are there? They exist. And are we underestimating and not taking advantage of who we are as a community? So that, we have all of these organizations, you have all of these outstanding leaders, but is there a way to leverage that? Can we, yes?
Yeah.
Okay,
No, finish.
Okay, is there a way to leverage who we are? I know, COPAL has a long tradition and a legacy of recognition that has been built for over 40 years. And we're talking about our strategic plan and our strategic initiatives, and what we're trying to do is, we want to engage in community engagement, we also want to do civic empowerment, and we also want to do capacity building, all under the umbrella of collaboration. So part of what we're trying to do, and it's always the most difficult aspect of any endeavor, is implementation and follow through. How do we connect all of these pieces? How do we connect all of this power? How do we connect all of this energy to raise our community and to be a force within the county, to be able to advocate? And I also, what Sal was saying is, our average median is 85,000. Maybe we're comfortable, but what does that mean? And do we need to somehow articulate for the community how we can be a force in San Diego County and in the state of California? We're the fastest growing ethnic group in California. And I think we're not taking advantage of that in a way that we possibly could. But, again, it's sort of, we've got the leaders, we've got the commitment, and, people are not, again, you give up your Saturdays, you give up your evenings to put all of these efforts together. How do we raise it to the next level?
I really agree with what Vanjie